Hey guys, so we're going to go into looking at more things with triangles. We just finished looking at isosceles and equilateral triangles. Now let's just look at congruent triangles. Okay, so triangles with the same shape and size are congruent. Okay, so they're the same triangle. If you put one on top of the other, they'd match up. This means that all the corresponding parts, so both the angles and the sides, are congruent to one another. So for example, if you have a triangle like this, so A, B, and C are marked with different angle marks, so 1, 2, and 3, and then each of the sides are marked. So if you flip this one over the other way and put it on top of this one, they would be the same. This side matches up with this side, this side matches up with this side, this side matches up with this side, and we have this angle matches up with this angle matches up with this angle, and this angle matches up with this angle. So if two triangles are the same, that means the sides match up and the angles match up. From one triangle, it has a corresponding part on the other triangle. Okay? So when triangles are congruent, we can actually write a congruency statement. So we have triangle blah 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 is congruent to triangle blah blah blah. But it only works, you can only say that these two are congruent this way if you have the corresponding angles and sides correctly. So if we're doing A, B, C here, like they've got down here, we see A has one angle mark, so we have to do the one with the one angle mark first, so D. Then we have B is next in this one, so it has two angle marks, so the next one has to be 2. E, and then the last one is C, it has 3, so the last one on the other side has to have 3 as well, so F. So it has to be in the right order, they just have to match up. And you can do the first one any way you want, so you could do BAC for the first one. The only thing is, B has 2 angle marks, so the one with 2 angle marks has to go first. Okay, A has 1, so the one with 1 has to go second. And then C is last, 3. F has 3, so it has to go last. Okay, you just have to make sure they match each other. So CP, CTC. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Okay, so corresponding parts. So if you have two triangles, two congruent triangles, the corresponding parts are congruent. So A and D, those angles correspond to one another. They are congruent, so they're the same measure. AB, so this side has one tick mark, is the same as ED, so those correspond to one another. They're congruent, or they're the same length. Okay? So, corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So if we know that two triangles are congruent, then we know that every pair of corresponding parts is also congruent. So for example, here, it tells us triangle JKL is congruent to triangle PQR. You can go ahead and draw it out. I'm going to draw it out right here on top of everything just to kind of help you see. You don't have to draw it out though. Okay, so we have J, K, L, and we have P, Q, R. Okay, so we are looking at the way that it is labeled. So the first letter, so this angle J, is going to be congruent, since it's the first one, to angle the first one. Okay, second one, angle K, is going to be congruent to the second angle in the next one. Okay, third is going to be congruent to the third one. Okay, so you can do it like that. Again, if you're wanting to draw the triangles, that's how you do it. And then you mark the sides as well. Okay, so the first letter is congruent to the second letter if you're looking at the angles. Second one, and then again, just if they're in the same positions, JK is a side, pick 2 of the points, okay, and that's going to be congruent to, okay, it's the first two, PQ. Okay, now let's do second and last, so the last 2 letters, KL, that side is going to be congruent to the last 2 letters on the next one, QR. Okay, and now we have first and last. So JL is congruent to first and last on the other side, PR. Okay? So if you're looking at the angles, you just use one of the letters, so the first position, second position, and third position. Then the sides, you just pick 2 points, 2 of the letters, and you make sure you're looking at the same position on both of them. Write another valid congruency statement. So instead of JKL, as long as we can do the first one however we want to do it, and then we just have to make sure they matched up. So L is the last one, which means that R is the last one, so we have to do R. J is the first one, so first one's P, and then K is the middle one here, so Q is P. Sorry, Q is the middle one. Okay? I want you to go ahead and try this. Okay? Fill in these blanks. Angle blank is congruent to angle blank. Angle blank is congruent to angle blank. Angle. Okay, so that's just the letters. And then you have the sides. Okay? Choose 2 of them. 2 points make a line. Or a side segment. Okay? And then do the same thing down here. You can change the order of the first one however you want it, as long as you use the same positions together. Okay? So now, if we're given that triangle KPM is congruent to AYC, we're going to fill these in. So KPM is congruent to AYC. So we'll go ahead and say K and A are the same. Okay? P is the second one. Y is the second one. So those are the same. And then M and C. Okay? So those angles are the same. Then we can look at the sides. Okay? KP, AY. So this one and this one are the same. Okay, so that's just the first 2 letters. Let's do the last 2. PM and YC. So PM and YC. And then lastly, we have the first letter and the last letter. KM. So this one and AC. Okay, so now that you've got them all marked down, you can see KM is congruent to, so KM has 3 marks. So the one on 3 with 3 marks on the other one is AC. Okay, CY has 2 marks. CY, so the one with 2 marks on the other one is PM. Okay, PK has 1 mark. One with 1 mark on the other one is YA. Okay. Angle Y has 2 angle marks. Angle P has 2 angle marks on the other one, so angle Y is congruent to angle P. Angle K has 1. Angle A has 1 on the other one. Angle ACY, so if we look ACY, that would be angle C here. That has 3. So it's like that angle. It has 3. The other one with 3 over here is this one. The main thing, though, is if it has all 3 of them, we have to keep them in order. Okay, so we know the middle one's going to be M, because it's the corner we're looking at. It has 3. Okay, but we need to make sure that A matches up with the 1. So A is where we started at, ACY. So A is where we started at, has one little angle mark. That would match up with K. Okay, so now we're doing K, M, and then we have to make sure that Y matches up. It's got 2. One with 2 on it's P. So it's K and P. Okay, MPK. Let's look and see what we got. So MPK. So we're making sure we know we're looking M first, P, and then K. Okay, so angle. So we're looking at the one with 2 tick marks. So we're looking at angle Y over here. But let's see if we need CYA or AYC. Okay, so we started with M. M has 3 angle marks. So we'll put C first. P has 2. Y has 2. So we'll put Y. And then lastly, K has 1 angle mark. A has 1 angle mark on the other one. So you just have to make sure they're in the right order. They correspond to the parts on the other triangle. And then lastly, triangle YAC. Okay, YAC. Sorry about that. YAC. So Y has 2 angle marks. That would match up with angle P down here. A has 1. That matches up with K. And C has 3. So that matches up with M. So you just have to make sure they match up together. Okay? So now, let's look at number 4. So we are given that triangle STW is congruent to BFN. Okay? So let's go ahead and mark to see what's the same. Angle S and angle B are the same. Okay, so we can mark those. Angle T and angle F are the same because they're in the same position. T and F. Okay, and then angle W and N. Okay. All right, and then we can look at the sides as well. So using the first two letters, we have ST. Okay, so ST over here is the same as BF. Okay, now we can use the last two, TW and FN. So TW and F to N. And then we use the first and the last one. So SW, so this one over here, is the same as BN. So it's the same length as this one. Okay, so each of the sides match up and each of the angles match up. So if we're looking, okay, we can see we've got measures for almost all of these things now. So side BN, we can see it has 3 tick marks. It's asking for the length. Okay, so 3 tick marks. This one also has 3 tick marks, this WS, and it's 9 centimeters. So since they have the same number of tick marks, they're the same. So that one's also 9 centimeters. So TW, it's got 2 tick marks. Okay, so it's the same as FN over here with 2 tick marks. And that's 14 centimeters, so this one's also 14 centimeters. BF here, you can see, has 1 little tick mark here. Okay, so if we look at the other triangle, this one has 1 little tick mark. And that's 17 centimeters, so that means this one is also 17 centimeters, because that tick mark means that they're the same length. So if we look at angle W now, we can see it has 3 little angle marks. So if we look over here, angle N also has 3 little angle marks, and it's 82 degrees. So we know that angle W is also 82 degrees. Okay. So now we need angle B. So that's the one up here. It has 1 angle mark. So it's going to be the same as the one on the other triangle with 1 angle mark, which is this angle S, and it's 67 degrees. So angle B is also 67 degrees. So I'll write over there too. Then it asks for angle F. Well, it has 2 angle marks, okay? And this one has 2 angle marks, but that one doesn't have an angle measure written down, so we can't use that. But we do know 2 of these angle measurements in the triangle. So if we subtract these 2, if we subtract this 82 and we subtract the 67, then that will give us how many degrees is in that the leftover angle, angle F here, and that's going to give us 31 degrees. Okay, so this next one, I will go ahead and let you go ahead and pause the video. I want you to go ahead and try this one on your own. Go through and mark which ones are the same. Do pay attention to the fact that this is isosceles. Okay, so these 2 are the same. So this one's also 27 feet. So whenever you mark these ones, these 2 are going to be the same as these 2. All 4 of those are the same. So go ahead and pause it and try that one, and then we'll go to number 6. All right, so now we're going to look at number 6. So it tells us that a triangle UVW is congruent to T triangle TSR. So let's go ahead and start. It looks like we're just looking at sides on this one. So we have UV, first 2, and TS. UV and TS are the same. Okay, so let's do the last 2 letters. VW and SR. So VW is this one. SR is this one. Okay. And then we can do the first letter and the last letter of both of them. So UW, 3 tick marks, and then TR, 3 tick marks. So if they have the same number of tick marks, then they're the same or equal to each other. So let's go ahead and look. So we've got this UV, okay, and that's going to be equal, it's got 1 tick mark, to this TS, okay. UV is this 12x minus 7. TS is 53. From there, you just have to go down and solve for x. Okay, so you'd add 7 and divide by 12. Easy. Doing the next one, we can look at VW. And it has 2 tick marks, so it's going to be the same as this RS on the other side. VW says right here on the picture is 57 long. It doesn't say any units, but it's 57. And then we know here that RS here is 5y minus 33. Okay, and then from there, you just have to solve for y equals. So you'll add 33 to both sides and then divide by 5. And then lastly, we still have this UW side on the bottom here, and it's going to be the same as this side TR because it also has 3 tick marks. So if we go ahead and look, we have this UW is 3z plus 14. And we know that this TR is 50 from the picture. And then from there, again, you'll just subtract 14 and divide by 3 on both sides, and it'll solve for z. So go ahead and pause the video. Go ahead and take your time to try and solve for those ones. Okay? So if you did that, you should have gotten, go and check your answers, 5, 18, and 12. Okay? So now I'm going to go over number 7. We're looking at angles instead of the sides now. Okay? So we're going to go and mark the angles are the same. So P and C are the same because you can see they've got the, like that. The second letters are H and N. So H and N are the same. And then the third one, S and F are the same. Okay? So let's go ahead and start with angle P and angle C. So those are the same because they have the same number of tick marks. Angle P is 36. Angle C is 4z minus 32. Okay? So now we can go ahead and solve. And I'm actually going to go ahead and solve and work this one through completely because it's a little different. So we're going to add 32 to both sides. So we'll add 32 to both sides. Okay, so it's going to give us 68 equals 4z. Okay, and if we divide both sides by 4, we're going to get that z is equal to 17. Okay, so now we have h and n. So angle h and angle n are the same. So 6x minus 29 is equal to, angle n here is 115. Okay, so we'll add 29 to both sides. And then that is going to give us 6x equals 144. And that's going to give us, if we divide both sides by 6, the x is equal to 24. Okay? And then lastly here, we have S and F. So angle S is equal to angle F. Okay? So we don't actually have what angle S is here. So we're going to have to solve for it. We have the two other angle measures here. So we'll do 180 minus this 36. We'll do minus 6 times we determined x was 24 minus 29. Okay, so if we do this in a calculator, 180 minus 6 minus, and then whatever 6 times 24 minus 29 is. Okay, so you're going to get that this angle S is 29 degrees. Okay, so angle S is 29 degrees, is equal to angle F, and we have that is 3y minus 1. We'll add 1, giving us 30 equals 3y. And now if we divide both sides by 3, we're going to get that y is equal to 10. So now we solve for x, y, and z. So you just need to mark which ones are the same. If you don't have one of the angle measures, remember to subtract the other two from 180. Okay, just set them equal to each other. Okay, this one doesn't have your triangle drawn out. So we're going to go ahead and draw our triangle because it helps quite a bit to be able to see it. Okay, draw our two triangles. Okay, so we've got D, E, F, and J, K, L. Okay, so let's go ahead and mark ones as the same. So angle D and J. Wait, this one looks like it's just using sides, so we don't need to mark the angles. But we do have to mark the sides. So DE, the first two letters, and JK. So DE and JK. So the second and third letters, EF and KL. So from EF is the same from K to L. And then the first and last letters, we have DF. I'll do 3 tick marks on that one. And then on the other one, it's JL. So this one's 3. Okay? So we know that DE is equal to 18. Okay, EF is 23. DF, this last one here, is 9x minus 23. Okay, JL is 7x minus 11. Oops. Okay, JL is 7x minus 11. JK here is 3 minus 21. Okay? And now we just need to solve for x and y. So let's look at the ones that actually have x and y in it. So here, we can go ahead and do this one first. We'll solve for x. So these two, okay? And we know that JL and DF are the same. Okay, so we can put these equal to each other. So 7x minus 11 equals 9x minus 23. Okay? From there, you can solve for x. Go ahead and finish that one. And then if we're looking for y, we have this JK side. And we know it's going to be the same as this DE side, because it's marked in here, because DE and JK are on the same positions in the congruency statement. And so JK here is this 3y minus 21, and DE is 18. And so from there, you just have to solve for y. So go ahead and finish those two up and work down until you can solve for y. X and y, sorry, the variables. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and erase this a little bit so it's not in the way of this one. And I'm going to go ahead and draw the triangles. I'm not going to set this up for you. I want you to be able to do this on your own. Draw the triangles, okay? QRS, and MNP, okay? So these are the same because of the way it's written. Okay, these are the same, again, because of the way it's written. Up here, that. Okay, go ahead and use these and try and solve for x and y. Remember, anything with the same number of tick marks or angle marks can be put in the blanks whenever you've got these like this. Just blank equals blank. So go ahead and try and solve for the other ones. Let me know if you guys have any issues with this or if you had any issues or questions on this. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys later.